After an eventful weekend, we've made it to the home stretch at the LWS Open at Idlewild, presented by Dynamic Discs and the Nati. You're watching Tournament Central with Grant Zellner alongside Terry Miller. And Terry, sometimes when we talk about these Disc Golf Pro Tour events, we use analogies like it's a marathon. Sometimes we get to the last round and we say it's a sprint to the finish. Yesterday felt like one of those 5K mud runs, the events that just have all kinds of chaos happening from right to left and up and down and everything in between. And we ended up finishing literally in the dark. You were there. Take us back to last night and what you saw on one of the most bizarre rounds in Disc Golf Pro Tour history.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and maybe more importantly, what I didn't see during that final few holes out there. It was incredible that they were trying to close out the round, and I recall from the sideline of hole number 9 saying, guys, we're not going to finish. It's just a matter of what hole are we going to get to, and then when will things be called? Well, when it was all said and done, everyone was off the course except for the final 4 players, the lead card. And then around hole 16, they were told that it looked as if it was going to be time to come off the course. The players essentially appealed or petitioned, so to speak, to the PDGA, to the Pro Tour, and everyone on site and said, we'd rather finish this out. We would rather play 16, 17, and 18 with the conditions the way they are. We'll accept all responsibility for such. We want to play this out and see this through to the finish. They didn't want to get out here early and have a shotgun start for just 1 or 2 holes. And personally, I thank them. I can applaud that effort. So we finished it out. There are regulations about what can be used in terms of lights and aids, and everyone had to abide by said regulations. And we were literally seeing discs thrown in the dark. In fact, it went as far as eventually Gavin Babcock lighting up his disc on the tee of 18 and playing a glow disc, as many players throw. He actually glowed up his disc before throwing it off the tee of 18, and they closed out. Heck, on hole 17, the group went 1 under. Try that in the daylight.
Never once in my life have I seen a player appear to be calling for his caddy, as Gannon Buhr did on 18. It turns out he wasn't calling for his caddy. He was calling someone else over with a flashlight so that he could use the flashlight to look in the backpack, which was still on his caddy's back. He couldn't identify his own discs from literally 18 inches away. It was an absolutely crazy finish, but it did save that foursome from having to come out early this morning. And now we are going to see what I expect to be a very eventful final round. Scores already coming in from some players who have finished, proving that it's possible to go low today. One of the players that went low yesterday to get himself into position, Isaac Robinson. And Terry, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that Isaac Robinson would be a player in contention at Idlewild.
No, and we saw what he did to open this tournament. He went 7 for 7 in the birdie category. He then eventually ran into some trouble and then stumbled through the back 9 during his opening round. However, yesterday he had a great start. I believe he had got 5 out of the first 7 holes, so he's got 12 out of the first 14 opportunities, but then he flipped the script. And in the back 9, he also kept it rolling, having a very solid back 9 as well, and having one of the better scores on the course for the day, and that's why we're finding him atop the leaderboard.
Gannon Buhr there in a tie with Isaac at the top. Gannon, as we've already mentioned, was one of those players who finished in the dark last night. He was no worse for the wear. He ended up 1 under par for the closing 3 holes yesterday to put himself in position. Gannon is playing very steady golf here at Idlewild with rounds of 9 under and 11 under. Terry, on day number 1, we talked about how we thought 3 9s under par would put you in contention. Gannon bettering that pace right now. Will it take better than 9 under for Gannon to stay atop the leaderboard at the end of the day, do you think?
Well, I guess I look at that two ways depending on where you're placing your wagers, right? 3 9s lead him to 27 overall. Or if he shoots, will he need that 9 today to get to 29? That's going to be ultimately the question, right? I feel as if another 9 or a 10 would put him in really good position. I can't imagine too many people getting well past that, but anything is possible. And with things as tight as they are, I feel like a 9 or a 10 is at least what's going to be needed to be secure in that positioning. We've seen today that people can pop off at any moment, and some really hot scores can be shot out here, and the conditions are setting up well for it today.
Calvin Heimburg is just one back of the duo that we've already discussed. He's at 19 under par yesterday. He overcame 3 OB penalties. An eagle late in his round helped him do that. Calvin playing the way Calvin plays, which is a very sort of steady, stoic form of golf, important to get through a round at Idlewild, which is a bit like poker. You've got some highs and lows that are just going to happen. Calvin weathering the storm well. Started things off yesterday with that huge throw in on the first. What do you like in Calvin's game and in his ability to stay toe-to-toe with the others?
Well, as we know, Calvin Heimburg is not short on any of the skill sets that would be required on a course like this. Calvin throws low, powerful shots, and power is not necessarily even the name of the game out here as much as it is accuracy. This is the shortest course that we find on the tour. Now, will Calvin be able to disc down to a mid or sometimes his trusty fairway driver that he loves to lean on? That will probably propel him to the greatest amount of accuracy. I'll say it, I think I said it yesterday, it's going to come down to Calvin's putter. That's what we've seen in terms of any streakiness coming from Heimburg, is whether or not he has his putter going. I feel like if he gets off to a good start, that will mean good things for Calvin. Sometimes if it takes him a little while to get going, he doesn't finally find that extra gear until it's way too late. Today, if he gets off to a good start, he's going to be a threat throughout.
A number of players within about 4 strokes of that duo at the top, even after a volatile weekend. And with the volatility here across the course, you can say with honesty that even somebody 4 or 5 strokes back, they have a puncher's chance to make some noise by the end of the day. They include the young upstart Evan Scott and others. We'll talk about all of those in contention today later on in the show. You're watching Tournament Central on the Disc Golf Network. Stay with us.
I'm asked all the time, why do you play disc golf so much? The best answer I can think about is, there's just something about disc golf. You might think it's just like any other sport, but I can promise you this is not the case. Disc golf is the walking nature, the closing of your computer, the discipline that it requires, that sound of those chains. I don't know what it is. The whole world should have the opportunity to try it. Let's grow the sport.
My name is Ricky Wysocki. I founded the Saki Bomb Foundation as a nonprofit organization committed to growing the sport of disc golf with America's youth. The foundation's First Putt initiative puts 50 discs and 1 portable basket in the hands of PE teachers across the United States at no cost to the school. We've already sent First Putt packages to schools in all 50 states with the generous support from our sponsors. If you want to be a part of this movement, visit SakiBombFoundation.org. Thank you for growing the sport of disc golf with us.
I'm asked all the time, why do you play disc golf so much? The best answer I can think about is, there's just something about disc golf. You might think it's just like any other sport, but I can promise you this is not the case. Disc golf is the walking nature, the closing of your computer, the discipline that it requires, That sound of those chains. I don't know what it is. The whole world should have the opportunity to try it. Let's grow the sport.
A round of disc golf can be long, and if you're playing in a tournament, it can feel like a marathon. This can leave you physically and mentally fatigued by the end when your shots matter most. With space for your discs, water, and even a place to sit, a cart enables you to bring what you need, helping you feel more prepared and energized without carrying the extra weight. This can help you maintain your edge and save you strokes through every round.
Welcome to beautiful Abilene, Georgia, home of the International Disc Golf Center. Featuring 3 world-class disc golf courses and a full-service pro shop, the IDGC has everything you need for the ultimate disc golf getaway. Explore the sport's history at the Ed Hedrick Disc Golf Museum and spend your evenings around the campfire right here in picturesque Wildwood Park. The IDGC belongs on every disc golfer's bucket list. Plan your trip today. Visit pdga.com/IDGC.
The lead cards are just moments away from teeing off here at Idlewild, but before they do, a chance to check in with the PDGA. Terry on the ground with Danny Voss. Take it away, guys.
Again, welcome in, everyone. Danny is joining me again, and Danny, you know, I think back about the FPO round this morning. Cadence had some deadlines she had to hit. She's got homework to do for the upcoming week. We've got deadlines within the PDGA that we should hit on.
That's right, and for everybody that wants an A+, you should really pay attention here. So August 15th, we have a request out for feedback on proposed rule changes for 2024. This happens every single year. There's some in there that people have already started talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I literally just shared this on PDGA social media channels. You can find it there. Obviously, pdga.com is a good place to go. But we want that feedback by August 15th. September 1st, we're looking for partners for a women's global event, player packs, prizes, things like that. Great way to market your business or your retail store or whatever it is that you want to do. Just go to the pdga.com and you can find that information there as well. And then finally, November 1st, we've kind of been hitting on this for the past few months. We were talking about it in Europe, but major bids. We want to get really good major bids out there. We want to receive them, and we want to put on the best events possible, and that's done through the local organizing committees, those LOCs that you were talking about. And yeah, reach out to the PDGA if you have any questions on those, and yeah, we're happy to help. So lot to go, lot to do, a lot of dates to circle on the calendar, but yeah, good stuff ahead.
Well, it's all part of being an active member and an active enthusiast and supporter, not just of the PDGA, but of disc golf in general.
Right.
And we know there has been a lot of conversation about the proposed rules changes. We saw that those were put out a few weeks ago, and the PDGA is actively inviting and seeking feedback on said rules. And that's such a great democracy, a great way for all of us to really be part of it.
That's right, and I would say the caveat there is that we are requesting that members provide their feedback through those official channels. It's
Wait, can I send a tweet right now? Does that count?
sure. It probably won't be registered though.
Okay.
So I hate to break it to you, but yeah, go at all the information again is in the social post that I just put up and in the article on pdj.com. Rules feedback at pdj.com is where you're going to submit that feedback. So yeah, stuff like everybody keeping score next year, that kind of stuff, which is a great rule change, I think. But it's in time to hear what the members think. So yeah.
All right, and another initiative that we touched on earlier, but it's worth repeating, the WGE, the Women's Global Event. That is an event that typically takes place every other year, and it's a great way for competitors to see how they stack up against other competitors within their division around the globe. And the example I said this morning is an FA1 player that's playing in a C tier in Alabama will be compared against the rounds an FA1 player is shooting in Norway, for instance.
That's right, yeah.
For that one particular weekend or that one particular women's global event, and looking for people to support that in any capacity.
Exactly, and again, it's a really good opportunity for us to come together as that like global community and support a really meaningful initiative. But also, I mean, it's really good exposure too for your brand. So, you know, there's all sorts of details in the RFP. So I'm not going to go over them now. Just go on there and read, do your homework, like I said, and we'll be good.
All right. Well, there's plenty of things going on. Be active, be involved, show your support, voice your concerns and your feedback. If we do that all in a constructive, positive, concise way, it's going to resonate so much more. Danny, thanks for joining us all weekend, for giving us the updates. I'm going to throw it back to you, Grant.
Thanks a lot, guys. A lot of information to digest there and a lot of opportunities for people to make their voices heard here at the PDGA. After this break, we will take a final look at the leaders and in particular some of the chasers who will be pursuing from behind and get to play a little bit of a freewheeling style of golf. We'll also look at a few hot rounds that have already come in today, including the hottest round of the weekend. All of that on the other side.
What people are going to notice when they pick up the Supreme Series is superior grip, superior durability.
The inspiration of creating a new disc line for Dynamic Disc was to actually step up the quality even more.
Our friends over at Latitude 64 have to have special molds made. And this Supreme line of plastic is truly a premium plastic. It's a premium disc, and you will know it when you touch it and when you throw it, that it's as good as it gets.
What makes the Halal Guys so deliciously different? You might have heard of our famously long cart lines that NYC fans happily stand in. Today, with over 100 plus restaurants across the globe, we are your place to experience authentic American halal. Enjoy our delicious falafel, Euro sandwich, platters, and sides topped with our famously flavorful white and hot sauces. Order online today and taste how we make different so delicious. The Halal Guys, bringing something deliciously different to the table.
Players already out on the course here at Idlewild for final round action, and you can see players already making moves up the leaderboard, 6-unders and 7-unders through barely the front 9. It looks like it's going to be a very noisy day here at the LWS Open at Idlewild. Grant Zellner and Terry Miller, we want to talk now about some of those chasers that maybe are starting a little bit closer to the top and have perhaps a little better chance at getting onto that podium or maybe even contending for the victory. Terry, let's start with Evan Scott, the upstart, a very young player who is a recent major champion in the amateur divisions. He lost his place on the lead card due to a tiebreaker that's based on how hot he shot in round number 2, yet he is still in a tie for 4th and very much in contention. What have you seen from the young Evan Scott this weekend?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't see his best play this weekend because his best play took place during round number 1 yesterday when he was on the lead card. It just didn't seem like he had it all there and available to us. We know that he can rein them in from long distance. That's actually feels like one of his specialties. Even when he doesn't connect, he gives them really good bids. One in particular, I think about hole number 13 yesterday where he almost put one in from nearly 100 feet. But it wasn't his best effort, so I'm looking forward to him coming back today to see what he can do. We see right there him saving the par after it just barely trickled out of bounds on him on hole number 4. He's able to throw over the pond and then put in to save the par. And he had a number of par saves out there, but we know with the scoring that's taking place so far, saving par, no matter from what distance it's at, isn't going to matter. You need to get the birdies and keep them in your back pocket.
Well, and let's not forget, Terry, he birdied 17 in the dark last night, which helped to keep him within distance of the leaders in front of him. That was impressive enough all by itself. He will go out on the chase card today. Another player in contention, chasing today, Matty O. No surprise to anyone who has known Matty O's game for essentially 2 decades or more now. Matty O. always exceptional in the woods and at courses like Idlewild.
Yeah, I feel as if Matty O has been even outwardly vocal about how much he enjoys courses of this nature. He can throw a big bomb whenever he needs it. I've seen him do plenty of that throughout the years. However, he loves the technicality. And he also loves leaning into the opportunity to scramble. Not that anybody wants to be off of a fairway, but he, like a Ricky Wysocki, I feel so comfortable when they go into the woods and they have to manufacture, they have to innovate. Matty O, who's been around the game for a long time, has no problems with the forehand and the backhand, and sometimes that's even putting the disc on edge, whether it's a forehand roller or a backhand roller. It just doesn't matter. Matty O will take any play you call into the line. It doesn't matter.
Terry, with the incredible growth of disc golf over the past couple of years since the COVID pandemic, a lot of newer players and fans are part of our broadcasts and enjoying watching live disc golf and haven't been doing so for very long. They've heard of Jeremy Koling. They may know him mostly as a commentator, as a guy who goes out and plays practice rounds. They may not know Jeremy Koling's true length of his career and his abilities as a top-level disc golfer. He is in the mix here at Idlewild, and I know somebody like you, Terry, is absolutely not surprised to see that. What has been clicking for Jeremy?
Well, Koling certainly would feel comfortable in the woods here of Idlewild. He obviously comes from North Carolina, where he credits most of his success to playing those very, very thin lines that are carved out of the North Carolina courses. So coming to a course like this, I'm sure he feels right at home. He has openly discussed having some putting woes and some putting challenges throughout this year. Sometimes he feels as if his hand is completely disconnected from his body. He says he'll go out and practice for hours on end and everything will feel fine, and then shows up onto the course and it sometimes just doesn't connect. This weekend, he's finding a way to make those connections. It doesn't sound as if he's had any problems with the putter, and maybe more importantly, he's stringing together these long sets of birdies. I think it was during round one where he went 9 under in 8 holes, and then during yesterday's round, if I recall from Ian and Philo in my ear, I think they were talking about a few long strings of birdies he had in round number 2. So Koling seems to be firing on all cylinders. And my final comparison will be Koling was in the mix and took down Waco a number of years ago here on the Pro Tour. Waco on the shorter side, but is wooded. And so that's exactly what we see at Idlewild. Somewhat shorter, but heavily wooded. Sounds like some of the recipe for Big Germ success.
Well, before we get to final round action with our featured cards getting ready to tee off, let's shout out a couple of hot rounds that have already come in today. First of all, Ben Callaway at 13 under par. That would be the hottest round of the weekend if it weren't for what Micah Groth did. Micah Groth, 14 under par in this final round. He entered the day at just 2 under, so he won't be in the mix for long. But for the moment, all the way into the top 10 with the hottest round of the weekend. I understand, Terry, you actually ran into him as he came off the course. What did he have to tell you?
Well, actually, I ran into his good buddy, Joey Anderson, otherwise known as Joey Buckets, who I've worked with this year. I have filmed both of these guys throughout the time in their career. And Joey said to me, he goes, "Did you see what Micah shot?" I said, "No, I just got done interviewing Val. I haven't had a chance to look at scores." Micah was about 4 cars down. He had shot 14 under, the scorching new hot round here of the weekend. As you just mentioned, Callaway's 13 was great. Micah had the 14. I said, what did you shoot the previous 2 days? He's like, "Oh, I was 2 under going into today." He said he played some of the worst golf he's ever played yesterday, and then follows it up with this 14 under today. Man, I'd put down a bet right now that 14 is going to leave as the hot number on the weekend. I don't know if anybody wants to get in on that action, but I'm ready to take it. And the last thing I said to him, any idea how that felt in terms of a rating? Do you care? He's like, I would love it to see it in the 1080s is what I'd like to see. So we'll see how that number holds up no matter what. Great to see Micah Groth coming back, having a great day today, and that should give him a little push and momentum as he's going to head over to Michigan in a few days.
Well, as I mentioned, we're just moments away from the chase card teeing off here at Idlewild. And then we've got a lead card, which features one player I feel like we should mention because he is in contention. And it feels like it's been a little while. Kevin Jones playing from the lead card today. A lot of people probably excited to see Kevin. We've heard a lot of music from Kevin lately. Now he gets to make noise out on the course. And we're going to see, I assume, a lot of great runs from Circle 2, from all of those players at the top, because I think, Terry, that's what it's going to take, a few long-distance ring-ups in order for somebody to pull this out. Do you have a guess, Terry? Will the winner have to go 30 down for the event in order to pull this out?
I think 30 down sounds like a practical number. We have just too many great competitors in that 18, 19, and 20 range for no one to get to 30 would be shocking to me. So I think 30 is at least what's going to be needed in order to be crowned champion here at Idlewild.
All right. Well, you heard it from Terry. 30 might be the number, so that's the number that we'll watch in terms of pacing from these final two cards. Like I said, moments away. In fact, got to get out there and get to watching some disc golf. For Terry Miller, I'm Grant Zellner. Thanks for watching Tournament Central. We'll be back when the round is over to visit with your winner and to wrap up the wild weekend at Idlewild. See you later.